Hi everybody, welcome back to my views and news. Three news stories. First one is from Gondar. A new development in Gondar where some prisoners have been released. Who are the released men? When were they arrested? Is this release result of engagement between Gondar elders and government, Gondar Fano and government? Details for you. Secondly, Wolkait Humera Tsegede, Western Tigray, disputed territory between Tigray and Amhara regions. While the two regions are locked into the dispute over Wolkait, the regional government and the interim setup in Wolkait Humera Tsegede are cultivating the land. Sesame is being grown here. How much area is being used for cultivation of sesame? What is the significance of fertility of Wolkait Humera Tsegede? Thirdly, a US senator has been indicted for bribery. Who is he? He is the one who supported sanctions against Ethiopian government. During the 2-year-long war, he was one of those men who supported TPLF's position and he called for strict sanctions on Ethiopian government. Who bribed him? Important question is details for you in this video. Firstly, viewers, Gondar, where people say, Sajid, your reports about meetings between Gondar Fano and government are incorrect. Reports are false. At the same time, these people confirm meetings between Gondar elders and federal government. They say, yes, Gondar elders have held some meetings. Meetings held in Gondar, maybe outside Gondar too, in Addis Ababa. And Zinash Malakvalable's role being confirmed. If Gondar elders are in talks with the government, Gondar elders can talk to Fano as well, because we know that Fano has been in touch with Gondar elders. We saw that a few months ago when there was a complete strike in Gondar city, which was announced by Gondar elders. Then talks were held between Gondar elders and Ethiopian military decided to withdraw from some parts of Gondar. It happened a few months ago. So Gondar elders are closely in touch with Gondar Fano members. Now, some former Amhara special force members have been released from a prison in Gondar. When were they arrested? Who are they? Why have they been released? When Amhara special force was dismantled a few months ago, earlier this year, you know that some special force members rejected the decision and we saw start of region-wide protests in the Amhara region. Fano fighters supported Amhara special force members who opposed disbandment. And thousands of Amhara special force members joined Fano fighters. Some ASF members and trainers were arrested. They were arrested last year too and this year as well. They were put in prisons. And some of these trainers have been released a few hours ago. Released from a prison in Gondar. Those who were released from a prison today in Gondar include Amhara special force members and trainers. Joseph Asmare is one of the trainers of Amhara Special Force, arrested a few months ago when ASF was disbanded. He was in Gondar prison and a few hours ago he was released from prison. Some other ASF members and trainers released too. We have been able to confirm one name, Question is, what led to Yusuf Asmare's release? Is it result of negotiations between Gondar Fano and Ethiopian government, Gondar elders and Ethiopian government? Difficult to say, because Zamine Kasi was also released a few months ago by Ethiopian government. He was in Bahidar. He was in Bahidar prison. He was released. Last year he was arrested and charged with serious crimes, but this year he was released. And since his release, Zamine Kasi's role, Zamine Kasi's activities have been suspicious. Last night he issued a statement. I felt as if he was feeling left out. He tried to be relevant. It seems Zamine Kasi is not being trusted by other Gondar Fano, by other Fano commanders, and his Fano base is under the control of other commanders like Skandar, who is now the main player, one of the main players in Gujam. So he spoke last night, but it seems that he is not part of key decision-making team. He wants to be relevant. People say his release was meant to create splits within Fano. Now, Yusuf Asmare released. Don't know what he will do. Will he rejoin Amhara Special Force, or will he join Fano? That remains to be seen. I personally think that Yusuf Asmare's release is a result of talks between Gondar elders and Ethiopian government. Fano is on board too, directly or indirectly, because Gondar elders stay in touch with Gondar Fano. By the way, if these Gondar elders are going against Fano's instructions, they cannot go against Fano's instructions, because whoever goes against Fano's instructions in Amhara is assassinated. We've seen several assassinations so far in Shoa, in Wollo, in Gujam. These Gondar elders are not the targets of Gondar Fano fighters. Why? Because Fano and elders, they seem to be on the same page. They are in talks with the government. And one Fano faction is in talks with the government through elders, others are not. Secondly, viewers, Wolkait's strategic significance is known to everyone. Wolkait Humera Tsegede, the territory is disputed between Tigray and Amhara regions. It has strategic value because it shares border with two countries, Eritrea and Sudan. If Amhara region stays in control of Wolkait, it will have access to Eritrea through Wolkait. If Tigray retakes Wolkait, it will get access to Sudan. So for both countries, Wolkait Humera Tsegede region matters strategically. Another value, another importance of Wolkait Humera Tsegede is its fertility, fertile land, less reported mostly. Sesame crop is grown here, other crops too, and while we know the two regional governments are reiterating their claims to Wolkait Humera Tsegede and Ethiopian National Defense Force and Colonel Demek Zadu's militias are in Wolkait Humera Tsegede. Farmers have managed to cultivate their lands, sesame grown, crops are ready on 240,000, 230,000 hectares of land. Sesame crop is grown in Wolkait Humera Tsegede. This area is not like central Tigray, which is mountainous, not very fertile. That is also one of the reasons behind conflict over Wolkait Humera Tsegede. Obviously, agricultural produce will be acquired by those who are in charge of the land. Interim setup here of Colonel Demek Zadu, Ethiopian National Defense Force and Amhara regional government. They are the beneficiaries of this agricultural produce. I just wanted to tell the significance of this area from the point of view of fertility of land. But the area has other significance too in terms of its borders. So far, no decision made. Tigray, Amhara reiterating their claims to the land. Ethiopian military here, we heard a few weeks ago that military was trying to dismantle the interim setup here. Refugees were being brought in, but no progress about return of IDPs, not refugees. No return of IDPs, no progress. Interim setup still here. Colonel Zadu and others in charge here. And people of Tigray, opposition parties, they are calling for speedy return of IDPs. Basically, no big development on the ground in Wolkait Humera Tsegede, the area, territory under the control of interim setup, Amhara regional government, you can say to some extent. Thirdly, viewers, a US senator has been indicted for bribery. Who is he? He is the one who supported strict sanctions on Ethiopian government in the 2-year-long war. He supported TPLF's narrative. His name is Bob Menendez. I did several videos in the last 2 years about resolutions, bills passed at some committees, Senate committees, Congress committees, proposing sanctions on Ethiopian government for alleged human rights abuses committed in Ethiopia. Bob Menendez is a Democrat senator from New Jersey. He was the head of Senate's Foreign Relations Committee. His committee proposed sanctions on Ethiopian government more than a year ago, and the bill was obviously not approved. Only his Foreign Relations Committee approved. Then the bill was it was due to be put to vote, which did not happen. But in his talks, he supported sanctions on Ethiopian government. Now, reportedly, Bob Menendez is being indicted for corruption, for bribery. Gold bars and cash have been recovered, and Bob Menendez has been indicted by Justice Department. He's being removed from Senate Foreign Relations Committee. Who bribed him? It is being alleged that Egypt bribed Bob Menendez. It means that in the 2-year-long war, those senators who were supporting sanctions on Ethiopian government, they were in touch with Egyptian government officials, Egyptian intelligence agents who maybe bribed these lawmakers. We cannot say that all lawmakers were bribed, but at least Bob Menendez is facing a trial, and prosecutors say that he received gold bars and maybe cash too from Egyptian agents. Very serious allegations. Allegations point towards the credibility of US lawmakers, senators, congressmen who project themselves as champions for the protection of human rights across the world. But they are being bribed, and after that they speak in support of imposition of sanctions on other countries. Thank you for watching.